Andrey, thank you for taking this time to speak with us. The telecom industry is going through a massive transformation, and the Alaris Lab is right in the middle of it. Let's start with a big question. In your opinion, what's the biggest threat for the telecom industry today? Is it AI, AIT, flash cores, or something else entirely?
Well, I don't see artificial intelligence as a threat to specifically the telecoms industry. It's a very complicated phenomenon, I would say. Yeah, and it's not related to telecom only. It's a global thing. Also, flash calls, I don't see them as a threat either. It's yet another commodity, I would say. Yeah, we just need to learn to work with it to make a product out of flash calls and convert them from SMS bypass to something to charge money for, and it's going to be just yet another telecom channel, another delivery channel, just like WhatsApp, RCS, or others. And AIT is probably the biggest issue that we are facing today, the biggest threat that is disrupting, the market, I would say. Um, we'll see a lot of it as a platform provider. We'll see a lot of AIT going through our customer platforms. And surprisingly, probably the main reason why it is still there, I mean, why that traffic actually exists and actually is getting bigger in terms of the volumes, is that if we look at the chain of traffic processing, it's just the end customer who is not interested in that traffic. Yeah, and the enterprises being scammed by like bot registrations, triggering SMS messages to be sent to confirm fake accounts, etc. So it's only them having to pay for that traffic at the end of the day are not happy about having the traffic, in the market, because all others like aggregators, wholesale carriers, even mobile network operators, they're fine about that. It's just something to make their volumes bigger and to boost their margins. So they don't ask too many questions. Yeah, at least many of them don't ask too many questions, and this is dangerous. This is dangerous because it's hard to compete if you support fair play. I recently had a talk with one of our customers, a very well-known aggregator, global aggregator, and one of their managers told me, "Look, yeah, a few months ago we started seriously filtering out artificial traffic, and you know what? Our volumes like decreased by 50%. Yeah, so." And we're under earning, our margins are going down compared to our competitors. We're not like filtering out that fake traffic. Yeah, it's difficult to be on the fair play side, let me put it that way. Yeah, because obviously you are, you know, decreasing your own margin that way, and it's very tempting. Yeah, it's very tempting, boost your volumes and get an extra penny on that. So this is what a lot of people are doing today. And to me, this looks like the biggest threat, the biggest challenge that the industry is facing.
Could you please give more introduction for AIT? Because for our audience, they may not know this well.
Well, artificial inflated traffic may be of different origins. Yeah, probably the simplest case is when a carrier, an aggregator, has a bilateral deal with a partner and they need to, send some traffic to a specific destination in order to be able to receive their like reciprocal traffic from the other side. And they don't have that traffic. Yeah, sometimes they just generate fake messages, like, out of the blue. So they just create some piece of software generating those messages, and they actually pay for that even, yeah, to receive that traffic, yeah, from the other side. So this is the simplest case and probably not the worst case. Yeah, because to me, the worst case is a more sophisticated scenario when somebody uses a botnet, like a SIM farm with like a few dozen SIM cards to create fake accounts with like social networks like Facebook, etc. And obviously, when you create a new account, you are supposed to receive an SMS to confirm your account. So Facebook and the like will send you that SMS. Well, not to you, but obviously to that SIM number, yeah, SIM of a SIM card in the SIM box. And there is no human being behind that phone number. Obviously, nobody will be there to receive that message and to confirm the account. Yeah, because it was completely fake from the very beginning. But the SMS is like real. Yeah, it was a real legitimate message generated by Facebook and sent along the entire termination route towards the mobile network where the SIM card is registered. So, yeah, that's what I meant by saying that everybody in that chain will be happy processing that message. And I cannot be really harsh in my judgment on that because, yeah, being like a platform provider, I understand how complicated it is to single out cases like when you are dealing with a message of that type because it's totally real. There is nothing fake about it. It's just that there is no human subscriber, human mobile subscriber sitting behind that phone number, but you cannot tell that. Yeah, it's a valid SIM card. So that's all you know. And that's what makes that type of fraud really complicated to beat. Yeah, because once again, everybody's happy, nobody's complaining, except for the enterprise customer, like social networks, etc., where that fake registration was created, like Facebook or whoever, because they have to pay for that traffic. Yeah, obviously. And there is no real customer for them behind messages of that type. So obviously it's a direct loss to them. Yeah, but to everybody else in the chain, it's marginal. So yeah, it's very complicated.
Thank you for sharing this. And your company has always emphasized the value of strong support team. With the rapid revolution of AI-driven communication tools, do you think your client would notice if you start using AI-based support engineers?
Yeah, I think we will. At the moment, yeah, at the current level of AI agents, it's not an easy thing to train an AI agent when it comes to a sophisticated piece of software like ours. Yeah, because it's not call center. Yeah, it's not something standard or typical. Yeah, because if it comes to, standard routines like, typical calls to a bank, to an airline, to a hospital, I don't know, to an online shop or something, yeah, there are ways to, easily or more or less easily train an AI agent so that the majority of its answers will be relevant and it will be really able to, speed up things for customers and cut down the costs for the enterprise. Yeah, but in our case, if we were to introduce an AI assistant in our technical support team, yeah, because our platform is very sophisticated, our products are very sophisticated, and people will notice that. It does not mean we're not playing with that. Yeah, I have to be straightforward. Yeah, we are playing with that. We make some efforts to, so far, it's more like an internal thing here, yeah, to see if we can make the life of our first line support engineers a bit easier, to let them use some sort of an AI helper, to quickly dig for information internally. But that only works well when controlled by a human being. Well, so far, and I think it's better to leave it like that because when you do not have a human being controlling the AI, we have seen that many times in different areas already, and I'm sure we're going to see more and more of that. AI, starts going its own ways. Yeah, because, for example, if we speak about using AI and in coding in software development, yeah, this is a very popular thing now because it speeds up the development process very much. But you come to trust your AI assistant sooner or later. And first, it provides you with pieces of code it has designed, asking you for your approval. And you check that code. It looks perfectly nice. Yeah, very good. Exactly what you needed it to be. You click OK, approve. And then the second time, you check the code, you click OK, then the third time, then the fifth time. And sooner or later, the moment comes when you start trusting the code you receive from your AI assistant and you start clicking OK without scrutinizing the code that was provided for review. And then it's only a matter of time when you will face an issue. For example, like based on what we have seen internally in our experiments of that type, all of a sudden, your AI assistant may decide that, well, your platform does not really need that or that module. It's not needed. Just let's cut it out. And it cuts out pieces of codes, functions of the product because it thinks them unnecessary. Why it thinks them unnecessary, that's a very good question, but you cannot ask it. Yeah, you will not receive an answer. So yeah, human control, be it software development, be it customer agents, be it whatever else, application of AI and telecom, and not just in telecom, human control is the key thing here. And it's the most complicated thing here at the same time. Because, once again, you come to trust your AI assistant, and it's only a matter of time when you will face a challenge.
I totally agree with that. On that note, how do you personally implement AI in your professional work or in daily life, and how it changes the way you operate or make decisions?
I personally do not use that much of AI. Yeah, sometimes I ask DeepSeek something when I need some, aggregated information on some subject, but I always cross-check. Yeah, I'll be clear on that. I always cross-check. I never trust a single source of information because I've seen not a single case of mistakes. Yeah, on the side of DeepSeek, ChatGPT, etc. So I always cross-check. It's convenient, it's fast when you need to get a quick opinion of something you don't really know. But yeah, you have to cross-check always. And other than that, in my professional life, I don't need AI, in the position, in the capacity where I work. Yeah, but my colleagues in different departments of our team obviously use AI. Like it's good for marketing when you need to generate images, like basically saves a lot of time. Yeah, we have some experiments with coding, with software design as well, but this is still like tricky. It's not in production. The support assistant, the internal support assistant, is yet another thing we're playing with. And related to the software itself, to our software, we have recently released a module called AI Traffic Classifier. This is an AI assisted tool to analyze the patterns of your traffic, of your messages, and single out spam so that you can block that type of traffic or vice versa. You can, identify good messages and like create like patterns telling the system, okay, if you come across a message of this type, yeah, it's good. I approve it. So it's fine. Please let it pass. So this is already in production. And we see quite a few other areas where AI could be handy related to our software products, like routing management, for example. Because, our messaging platform has always been very good for its routing capabilities. And looking at the margins in the SMS market gradually going down year by year, yeah, basically people understand that they need to be very flexible and ingenious when it comes to squeezing some extra profit from the traffic they have, from the volumes they have. It's about routing. So we have to be very smart, and that's where dynamic routing comes from, based on like formulas, thresholds, etc. And our platform is very good at that. So we have always been very good at that. But we feel that AI could solve the problem even better than these formulas and thresholds do. So this is going to be one of the directions we will try to develop our system in. So, and, no guarantee here. So basically, I'm not sure if it's going to work out or not, but we'll try for sure. And also, there are things like, report construction, stuff like that. So it's very nice to be able to ask the system in a human language, please, I want a report like this and this, with this information arranged in that way. Please, can you do it for me? And the system will understand and create like an SQL query or whatever. So you don't have to be an engineer to use that kind of tool. So this is going to be good for business people, for commercial people, so like, management, etc. So yeah, it looks enticing, and I think we'll try that direction as well. So yeah, quite a few action items on the list.
Within Larry's Lab, do you already have any AI colleagues, system, or agent on the part of the workload, or are you still
No,
trying to make it?
yeah, we're old-fashioned. We're old-fashioned. We don't have AI colleagues here. Yeah, all our colleagues are human, and I really value that. Yeah, because especially after the COVID, yeah, after the lockdowns, etc. I personally have come to appreciate the the companion of my colleagues, yeah, way more than I used to before that. Because when you have something abundantly without limitation, you don't really appreciate that much. But when we were all locked down at home, yeah, for months without, the chance to see each other, yeah, I came to understand. Yeah, it's a real value. So I'm happy to say that all my colleagues are human. Yeah, I see them on a daily basis. Yeah, it's going to remain like that for now.
So let's shift gears a bit. As a telecom expert, what's your personal stance on smartphone for kids? Do you see them more as learning tools or as distractions?
It's a very big challenge and a very big issue. Based on what I see, both in my home country and in many other countries I've been to, the biggest challenge about the smartphones is that they're like candies, candies for kids. If your kid faces the choice of what to eat, a couple of good-looking candies, very nicely, packaged and stuff like that, or some meat or and you know what, yes, something not so fancy, yeah, regular food, healthy but regular. Yeah, most likely he'll take the candies. This is what happens with smartphones. Kids, when given smartphones at an early age specifically, they always go for candies, candies for the brain. Cartoons, TikTok, etc., etc., etc. They don't read. They don't read anymore. And reading is the perfect exercise for the brain. It's like push-ups. If you want to be strong, you have to do push-ups on a daily basis for years. And they don't do that anymore. They used to. When I was a kid, I used to be doing that a lot. I started reading at like six big adult books, like, a few hundred pages. And that was like another dimension. It was so interesting, so exciting, these all these worlds created by books, my imagination, a lot of things were related to that. And people and kids don't have that anymore. They don't have that anymore. They do not develop their fantasy because every video image is by its nature, by default, something, more limited than a book, because a book always leaves a lot of space for your imagination. And a video shapes the story into a particular frame, and it doesn't leave a lot to be imagined. So yeah, it's once again, it's like candies, but you cannot feed your kid with just candies. He or she has to eat something else to be healthy. So they don't do that. They don't do that anymore. And if you are an old-fashioned parent, like I am, for example, you'll inevitably face the choice of what to do, how to treat your kid when he starts going to, I don't know, kindergarten, not even to school, to kindergarten. And all the kids, well, the majority of them at least, will have phones, smartphones, and your kid will become an outcast, will face the risk of becoming an outcast if you don't provide him with a smartphone. So basically, the choice is what to do. Yeah, to do what you think is right, make him read, not to let him play with the smartphone. Like Bill Gates, for example. I think he did not let his kids use smartphones until the age of like 14 or something. It really tells you something about, how the big guys think. Yeah. So he sees the challenge, but I have this challenge, this social challenge. Yeah, because risking to make my kid an outcast or risking to let him eat just candies. So I don't have the right answer. Honestly, it's very complicated.
For younger telecom professional entering the field now, what advice would you give them and what skills should they focus on to stay relevant and not replaced by AI?
Work. Just one word answer. Work. Don't be scared to work. Don't be scared to take up upon you more work when you were assigned. Because the biggest examples, we have like 200 people here in the company. So I've had quite a few examples of different types in front of me over the years. It's not even related to me personally, even though I do have some personal experience of that type in my life, but it's about other people as well, other people that I have seen. The best guys here at our company are the ones who are not scared of, trying new things. They don't have to do it. Yeah, so when you do something that is of interest to you, yeah, well, something that is not your duty. basically. Yeah, you grow. You grow your experience, you grow your knowledge, you grow your potential. This is how you get stronger. Look for things that are of interest to you so that your work is not boring. This is also very important to find something that is not boring, that excites you, because otherwise, you'll burn out. You'll burn out. But yeah, again, just work.
Some people say trusting an unverified AI agent is like handling your car keys to drunk undergraduate student. You might get somewhere, but not safety. Would you agree with this analogy?
Yes, to a certain extent. Yeah, basically, AI is even worse than smartphones. Yeah, because people started with using like internet, Googling everything instead of learning things, actually. Well, why should I learn that? I know where to Google it quickly. Yeah, when I need that, should I need that, I find it online. And now with AI, it's even easier. You don't even have to Google, you don't even have to compare like different sources. You don't have to analyze different web pages and analyze the contradictions and understand and tell the good from the bad and right from the wrong. Yeah, the critical thinking. Critical thinking is an essential thing. So in the deep ocean of information we're living in today, yeah, without critical thinking, you'll be lost. And critical thinking, you can only develop thinking, obviously. Yeah, and when you use AI for everything, like a lot of young people do today, even for learning, yeah, like writing their home task and etc., you don't actually learn yourself. You remain weak. What if they disconnect the internet tomorrow? What will you do? You will not know anything. You'll not be able to do anything by yourself. You'll be weak. So yeah, to me, yeah, basically losing the opportunity to train yourself, to exercise yourself, to get stronger is something not very wise. And what this is what a lot of people do today. Yeah, they basically shoot themselves in the leg. Yeah, basically, it's stupid. Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, but it's stupid.
Finally, AI is increasingly used in recruitment. Would you try to ask the Alaris Lab? And what's your opinion on outsourcing part of HR task, like candidate screening or culture fit evaluation to AI?
It might make sense to me. Yeah, if I were working for a bigger company, like hiring hundreds of people monthly. In that case, yeah, the volume of like preparatory work that's on the side of the HR team would be like more than just significant, and some automation could be used in that case, obviously. But in our case, it's not like that. We do not hire people in bulks. It's just a matter of probably a few people, sometimes a single person. So basically, I still feel we have this privilege of like manually like browsing through the CVs and looking at human profiles, like understanding, trying to understand what kind of person this or that like this or that guy is. I think this gives you more depth, yeah, than AI, than using AI. And you probably have fewer risks of overlooking someone important if you check everybody manually, with your own eyes, checking every CV instead of using AI for that. But on the other hand, I can understand, yeah, if it's a large corporation with dozens of thousands of employees, probably using AI is the way out. Yeah, if you need to, set up large scale recruitment, probably AI could be of help.
That's for my question. Thank you, Andrey. It's been a pleasure exploring both the human and technological side of telecom innovation with you.